Guys, I thought we discussed the return to Christianity that we're seeing so prevalent in the UK at the moment, and I can talk to you about some statistics in a second. One thing I noticed, though, not only are people investigating what it means to be a Christian, and do you have to go to church, do you need to belong to an organised religion, all these kind of questions, but the one-to-one coaching clients I do that I don't really talk about very much, a lot of them, one of the things I see in a lot of them is like an embarrassment about talking about it, an embarrassment about talking about their relationship with God. Now, everyone's relationship with whatever it might be up there is different. My one's very different as well. I'm a super lapsed Roman Catholic. I'm like what they call a cafe Catholic, or you pick bits of Catholicism you want, you know what I mean? I haven't been to church for many, many years, so I'm not that guy preaching. I couldn't be the worst guy preaching, really, you know what I mean? However, I've started to look at what it means to be a Christian man living in a Christian country. And I think it's worth discussing, because what I'm seeing now is this country rapidly turning into a non-Christian country for many, many reasons. Now, we know the main reason, of course, is the huge influx of Islam from, obviously, Muslim lands, overseas, foreigners, and then the birth rate increases. The average age of a Muslim is 27 in the UK. The average age of a UK citizen that's non-Muslim, basically, we'll say, you know, indigenous, is over 40. So, of course, what we're finding is we're not having the children that need to be had in order for the pensions and the businesses to get the labour and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it is, if that makes sense. If we look at some statistics, check that statistics. Muslims, 6.5% of the population, making up about 4 million. And they really, that 4 million figure, or 3.9 million figure, is 2021. If we go back then, really it was 2001 where they were about 1 million. So over 20 years, we've seen a rapid growth. Now, 5 years later or 4 years later, we don't know what that figure is. And these are people that we know about, of course. These aren't illegal immigrants that have come across in dinghies. And I think I saw like one day last week was like 800 came across. And we know in the summer period we get more, but no one knows who these people are, right? So, you know, this is what I'm saying. So we probably have a lot more dilution of Christianity in the UK than we're actually aware of. And although we talk about it, and a lot of people that I engage with online will whinge about it. And my argument is, well, what are you doing really to stop it? Why are you not populating the churches? Hey, I'm talking to myself as well when I talk about this, all right? Why are you not doing something about it? Why are you not investigating your own faith or whatever you think faith is? You know, I had problems with alcohol in the past. I never went to AA, but I had people in my family that did go to AA. And one thing they talked about was the 12 steps talk about higher power, and they call that power God. However, people that have an issue with God, atheists, agnostics, whatever it is, that really puts them off AA. But what AA says is, well, don't use it as God, use it as something that is better than yourself, something that's bigger than yourself. That's a lot of times I do that with my coaching clients. I say, yeah, don't believe in God. You haven't got to believe in God, mate. You can do whatever you want. But let's believe in something that's more powerful than himself. That could be the universe. That could be nature. That could be yourself in a decade's time. You know, it's bigger than you right now. And all I'm saying is, we're going to lose this country. And hit the comments, guys, by all means, and add some stuff to this. We're going to lose this country unless we start leaning back into, I believe, what it means to be a Christian with Christian values. Does it mean you need to go to church? Well, you know, the jury's out on that one, isn't it? I don't really know. I consider myself to be a Christian, but I don't really go to church. So can I be a Christian man without going to church? I think I can. I think I live by Christian values. I think I challenge myself to be better every day. And sometimes I fail in a really big way. But I'm trying to do the right thing every day. You know I talk about it. And I'll talk about it in this video as well. I'm trying to listen to the right stuff as well. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not polluting myself with the poison that's coming out of this biased media. In fact, that's a good point. Biased media. This video is sponsored by Ground News. I'm not giving you a big lecture now, but in the middle of it, I'll give you a 60-second thing that you can watch. And it allows you to not be polluted by this mainstream BBC, Sky News nonsense. It allows you to see what this is. So I use it. And this is when they said, can we sponsor you? I said, yeah, because I use your product already, mate. Have a look at that. Really be careful about what you're taking into your body, whether it comes in the form of, you know, poor narratives. I think there's been an evil in the world. I put a post out yesterday. I'll put it up here now. It was about the displays, the Christian Easter displays in Trafalgar Square. And I said Christianity didn't go anywhere in the UK. It was just God wanting to show you what evil looked like. He just wanted to give you a decade or two of just going, look, this is what degeneracy looks like. I get a lot of people writing to me saying, Tim, I'm an atheist, you're talking bollocks. Valid. Valid. You know, I'm not... Look, In the same way I don't know there's a God, and I don't know there's not a God, right? So the exception doesn't prove the rule. Oh, I get all that. I'm not saying it's same with chemtrails, same with flat Earth theory. You've got to be able to prove these things. You can't just say the Earth is not, the Earth is round, and without being able to prove it. So I've got to be able to prove a God. You can't. You've got to be able to prove it's not a God. You can't. You know what I mean? But the embarrassment, I'm getting a lot of men write to me, and they're embarrassed to look at this. And I just want you to think about what masculinity really means. If you're the figurehead of your household, maybe you're an important figure in the community, maybe you're an important figure in your own life because you are you, right? You've got to come to terms with that. And sometimes it's quite difficult, as we know, to come to terms with who we are, because we don't like ourselves very much. And we've all been through that, right? You've got to start looking at what it means to you. So if you want a relationship that's higher than yourself, and you want to be able to wake up in the morning and go, right, I'm being judged by someone. We're all being judged. You're judging me on this video. You're judging me. Some people will be hitting the like button. Some people will be hitting the subscribe button. Some people will be hitting comments down below. Read some of those comments. You'll read some really negative comments. Oh, Tim's God botherer and stuff like this. He's not, by the way. And if you knew me in the military, you know that's not the case. I had a relationship with padres in the military because they were top people. And some of those padres were Hindus, Sikhs, some were Muslim, some were Christian, because they're multi-denominational, because they've got to be able to speak to everyone. And you have some great conversations, you know what I mean? They're mad lads, some of them are, some of them are the most deviant people. Like, gee, seriously, they're good people, really. Padres, they need to be good people, right? But you haven't got to go and see a padre for a religious reason. You go and see them for anything, right? They're good people. And I've always said that about padres in the military. So if you're in the military and you're struggling with anything, go and see a padre. It hasn't got to be a religious thing. They will talk you through some stuff because they're exceptionally experienced, knowledgeable people. And that's the other thing I would say as well, is if you're struggling with your relationship with yourself, it might be worth leaning on something bigger than yourself, whether that's Christianity, whether that's a church. At the moment, I think it's 46% of people in the UK identify as Christian. It used to be, a decade ago, it used to be about 59%, so it has come down a bit. Now, out of the entire population, over 12%, only 12% are going to church, only 12%. Which, arguably has fallen as well. It's got a bit smaller. However, in the Roman Catholic Church, it has gone up a little bit. We are seeing that in the Gen Z and the millennials. In the C of E, I think there's 33% of people go to Catholic Church. I think it's about 31. I could be wrong. Go to Church of England, and then the rest are like Methodist and some weird stuff. I don't really understand it. You know what I mean? But there is a following, and there is a desire for conformity and conservatism, and more importantly, there's a desire for traditional values, which people find in Christianity. A lot of people are returning to Christianity. That's why the figures are going up. But also, a lot of people, immigrants are coming in, of course, and a lot of those immigrants are either oppressed Nigerian Christians, which don't want to be murdered, by all those, by Muslims in there. So they come over this country and they're going to church. I was in a church in Portsmouth recently. And the reason I say that I don't go to church is my mum, who's a militant Catholic, dragged me to church. So technically, I didn't go to church. My mum took me to church. Makes sense. Because I always go and support my mum in church because she's a mum. She's a mum. Support your mum, what she does. Let's not be dicks about it, all right? That's your mum. And in that church, it was full of... she did tell me... Did she tell me their nationality was? But they were foreigners, and I think they come over... I can't remember what they were now, but they were working at the local hospital, and they were Christians, so they were in a Catholic church. I can't remember what nationality. I don't want to assume. So it was interesting, but that church was filled with people who were not ethnically, say, English, for example. So that accounts for a rise in Christianity.
Ground News have decided to sponsor this video. They are good people, and when they said, can I sponsor you, Tim, I was like, hell to the yes, because I used their product already, and I said, what's going to be a great deal for me is going to be a great deal for you guys as well. 40% off the Vantage plan, top tier plan. Let's head over there now. So what Ground News does, it brings all these news articles in from across the political spectrum. It looks at the biases on them as well. So if I was to scroll to this article here, which is about the UK economy expanding by 0.5% in February, higher than expected, and I clicked on it, we can see straight away that there's 16 news sources that have reported on it. It is a leaning left. Why? Because we've got a left-wing government, haven't we? So maybe the right aren't reporting on it too much. And you can see there's about 6 in the centre. Now, what you can do then, pretty much, 55% centrist, kind of a centrist article, you can then have a read, have a bit of a summary here if you want to, and then you can go and pick your favourite paper down here anywhere you want, and you can click on that link. It then takes you across to that paper, and if you can see at the very top, you've also got a taskbar on Chrome that also helps you see what is going on. You have a read of it if you want, there you go, to all kinds of different papers. And you can also look at the factuality of it. How factual are these things that are coming out? And also, who owns those papers, right? So you know when you're being kind of like hoodwinked. Ground News is the only way that I get unbiased news. And the offer today is 40% off the Vantage plan. It's a good plan. I use it myself, about £7 a month, guys. Get after it.
I just think that, you know, if we don't do it, then Islam's going to take over. I don't think Islam has any place in the West. 60% of Muslims actually go to a place of worship. 60%. As I said, whereas Christians, it's about 12%, I think, go to a place of worship. So the way we can, and I do think we need to defeat Islam. I don't think Islam has a place in the West. I don't think it's possible. David Cameron, Angela Merkel, who should be in jail, by the way. Angela Merkel, not so much Cameron, but, you know, Blair, let's put him in jail. They have already said multiculturalism doesn't work. It's failed. So if I'm a realist, and I am a realist, and I think we all should be realists, we're not throwing out 4 million Muslims anytime soon. It's never going to happen. We can all talk about remigration, all that kind of stuff, and we will with illegal migrants, especially criminals, absolutely. But Muslims who are in the country, and they are good people, and they are aligning with British values, and they are working hard, irrespective of their religion, you know, we're going to have to embrace these people and they're going to have to become part of the community. So what do? Do we allow it to become a Muslim nation, or do we go back to church, or do we just maybe do something and appreciate how we can invest ourselves more in Christian values? Our laws are based on 10 commandments and Christian values. Hit the comments if you have an issue with what I'm saying, guys, because it's a good place for discussion. So if we don't do that, if we're going to just sit on the online and whinge about it, then maybe it's worth doing something about it. A lot of people anonymous online going, we got to track Muslims. Really? Because, you know, I'm a big fan of not having Islam in the UK. I don't think it works in the West at all. I genuinely don't. And this is where we start talking about what Islam really is, because a lot of people say, well, I'm a moderate Muslim. You're not really a Muslim then, are you? If you're not following the Quran by the letter and the Hadith, then you're not really a Muslim. And if you were, then this country wouldn't be safe, would it? So I don't believe there's a moderate Muslim. So either start thinking about Christianity and what it means to be a Christian man living with Christian values, or shut up about it. Do you know what I mean? Just shut up about it and accept your fate that you're going to be overtaken by Islam. If you are a Christian, you can lean on the church. There's a lot of power in communion and community, all right, of people around you that genuinely care for you. Now, in the church, there are people there that you can lean on. And you can speak to the priest or whatever, and you can say, look, I'm struggling, mate. I'm struggling. I don't understand it. Be a man about it. That's what I do about it. I'm a man about it. And my coaching clients as well, they come to me. They're like, I'm embarrassed, Tim, to be thinking like this, to think like, do I need to return to God? Like, you know, do I need to go to God for the first time? What does it mean? And I just say, look, it's pretty simple. The Bible is full of some really awesome stories, mate. You know what I mean? Go and open it up, read some passages. Doesn't mean you've got to be all weird about it. It doesn't mean you've got to go and preach on a corner if you want to. Fair enough. We all have a different relationship. We all have a different relationship. You speak to anyone and say, did Tim talk once about religion in the military? They will say, no, never. Never. Find me someone that did. If you found someone, hit me in the comments. I never once spoke about it, ever. But we've all got a relationship with it. And when I was flying over Iraq and when I was in Afghanistan, on my dog tags, it said RC. And I was proud of that. And if they were going to cut my head off, they'd have to go through that chain, wouldn't they? And it said Roman Catholic on it. And I was proud of that. All right. In the same way those people are proud of their religion, I'm proud of my religion. And so I just want you as a man just to think about what it means to live with those Christian values. You haven't got to go and become a Catholic. This is the problem. You haven't got to go and join the Church of England and all the virtue signaling that's happened under Justin Welby. You haven't got to do all that nonsense. This is why people go to the Catholic Church, by the way, because it never stopped being traditional. There are some things it will never change. Never going to have women priests. Never going to have gay marriage. And you might go, oh, it's wrong. Well, Church of England then. Go there. And then you can have rainbow flags and stuff. And you can go for the next new thing that comes in. And you'll be happy and settled in the Church of England. But you've got to ask yourself why so many C of E people are coming across to the Catholic Church. It's because you just want traditional values back. You know what I mean? Go online and have a look at what's happening with the Easter Masses in Spain. They're incredible. Like, amazing what people are doing out there. This is coming from a guy who hasn't taken himself to church for decades. You know, my mum forces me to go. But all I'm saying is, have a think about it. Don't be embarrassed about it. Men aren't embarrassed about investigating things. You know what I mean? But just do the work. Remember, fitness, family, finance, and fuel. Look, think about what you're putting into your body. I've said it before. All right. This is why the Ground News offer is pretty good. And it is 40%. I've hammered them for that 40%. I've hammered them for it, all right? And that's the biggest deal you can get out of Ground News, about £7 a month. You don't have to pollute your brain with nonsense from the BBC and Sky News. It tells you whether it's left or right bias. It tells you that. And luckily they're sponsoring this channel, because I was going to give up YouTube, guys, because it's a lot of hassle and it's a massive impact on me professionally, unfortunately. And Ground News has thrown me a bit of a lifeline, so thank you to them. You know what I mean? They've helped support the channel, because YouTube does not give people like me, it does not support us at all, because we speak out against the current narratives. I know you know that. Look, I'm going to leave it there. All right, I'm going to leave it there. But I appreciate you listening to this and not just writing, Tim, you're talking nonsense. You're going to write that now as well. You know what I mean? Hey, look, we're all good people trying to do the right thing. And I just think we need to resist Islam. And the way we have to do that is start leaning on our Christian values. Doesn't mean you got to get freaky deaky about it. I really appreciate your time. You know I do. And Easter Sunday tomorrow. Maybe go and just have a bit of a read of something interesting online and just go and explore. I really appreciate it, guys. Have a great weekend anyway. All right. And just connect with your families and connect with yourself, more importantly, and try and live yourself. Try and live your life as a better man. That's all it is. All right. Tim Davies, Fast Ship Performance.